What is going on, guys? My name's Tyson and we are out here in Malibu, California. We're checking out some bikes from SONDORS. If you don't know about SONDORS, they're a pretty big name in e-bikes. They're known for having a very widely publicized and successful crowdfunding campaign for their first bike. And they've just kind of kept going there. They've done some more crowdfunding bikes. They've expanded their lineup big time. And the bike we're checking out right now is one of the new ones. And I'm a big fan of this bike so far. This is the Smart Step is what they're calling it. So it's a step-thru, as you can see, very approachable bike. It's a nice low standover height of right around 20 or so inches. We'll have the full specs in the written review, of course. But yeah, very approachable. Look at that low saddle height. If you drop that all the way down, you could fit a really short rider on here and raise it up a bit more to fit somebody taller. The nice upright seating position, it's super comfy to ride on. You're looking at a 1-year warranty on this. Now this is a kind of a big deal for SONDORS. They used to have a pretty short warranty of only 30 days and they got a lot of flack for it, and so they've been doing a lot to step up the quality on their bikes. The warranty reflects that. Now it's a 1-year comprehensive warranty on all the components for the bike. Especially that's important with the electronics like the battery. I believe they've switched their cells too, so instead of doing Panasonic cells, they now have LG, I want to say it's the LG 3500 series cells. So on this, for the battery, you're looking at a 36 volt and 10.4 amp hour. So that's kind of medium capacity is how I would rate that. Now that is inside that down tube. Now check this out. This is something that I think is super cool with this bike, is that it's a folding bike. So you've got the folding mechanism right there. It's not a frames style that I see for folding very much. This is the first one that I've actually been in person with. So that is pretty dang cool if you ask me. Now this is a value price bike. You're looking at just $1,000 for this, $999 to get that shipped to you. That is pretty awesome. Now you've got decent components on it here. There's some extras that are not here that would be nice to see. As you can see, there's no integrated lights or fenders or a rack or anything like that. They do have like the cutouts and bosses and stuff, so that if you wanted to, I guess it doesn't have one back there for the rack, but if you wanted to add fenders, for example, you can do that pretty easily. There's no bottle cage bosses, which is a little bit of a bummer just because it's got the nice big down tube with the space on it there. But anyways, like I said, there's some of those extra accessories that do not come with it. But it's as cheap as it is, they got to make cuts somewhere to be able to do it. Now they've got a lot of accessories on their website where you can add those on if you want to. And actually that's kind of a big thing for SONDORS bikes, is the community that rides them is all about adding accessories, modifying them, all kinds of stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff like that out there. Now the components you've got on here, pretty decent quality, honestly. They've improved a bit since their earlier bikes. The braking system here, let's take a look at that. So these are 160 millimeter rotors in the front and in the rear, and they're mechanical disc brakes, as you can see from the cable right there. So mechanical brakes, the maintenance on them is required a bit more frequently, mostly just tightening the brakes. And they've got some downsides compared to hydraulic. They don't have the same response time. For example, the rear brake, there can be just a little bit of a delay from the cable distance, and then cable stretch happens. But when you do need to work on them, they can be easier to work on than hydraulic brakes. So they can be more popular for that reason. As I mentioned, they have trade-offs for the different styles. Now the levers up here, these are nice big 4-finger levers. That's really nice on the mechanical brakes like this. It gives you a little bit of a mechanical advantage, makes them a little easier to actuate, even though they're still not as easy as on hydraulic, but gets the job done. They've got the motor inhibitors built in here, cuts off power to that motor. So if you hit on the brakes really quick, then you don't have to worry about the pedal assist still going and messing you up. Pedal assist is cadence based. You can see the sensor right back here behind that chain ring. That's a 12 magnet sensor. That's kind of the new standard resolution for them. It's not sealed, so it can get bumped and magnets could fall out if it gets bent or something like that. Just keep an eye on that. You don't want to get too crazy with it. It's pretty rare because they're getting better at making these sensors so that the magnets stay in. But I do still prefer a sealed one. It's a lot easier to keep it from getting damaged. All right, so this bike, as I mentioned, very approachable. It's a really comfy ride, nice upright, relaxed seating position. I'm gonna move the seat up here a bit just so you can kind of get a sense for that. How that would be looking if you were a little bit taller. So even then, you can still get a nice upright position. The handlebars got a bit of a sweep to them. a bit of a rise, actually. I would say that's like a medium rise. We've got the same ergonomic locking rubber grips that they've got on, I think, all of their models. Pretty comfy grips. I like that they're locking. That allows you to bear down on them if you need to. You're probably not going to on this bike. They've got nice clean cable management too. You can see they've got them bundled up here with these nice thick wraps, and they got integrated cabling on here too, which I think they've been doing on pretty much all of their models. You can see it running inside the frame right there. It really gives it a nice sleek look. I like the pearl white on this. It's a very high visibility. Helps out with side visibility, especially at night. And it's appreciated here, so you can see we don't have reflective striping on the tires, which is a little bit of a bummer. I really like to see that. It's a good safety feature. And no reflectors on the rims either, actually. So the pearl white is awesome. They've got some other color choices as well. I think this one is available in, I want to say maybe it's like the torch, which is like a red and a graphite. We'll have some photos of all of those different colors back on ElectricBikeReview.com for you. Got the kickstand here, which, as you can see, I already got it locked up. Straighten that out. It's center mounted, so that's kind of a bummer because you can, if you back the bike up while the kickstand's down, it'll lock up with that crank arm. You got to make sure you remember to raise it. It's not the end of the world. It's just a small thing. I like it when they're mounted in the rear because you can prevent that. But it gets the job done. It's nice. I like the base is wide enough that it doesn't sink into sand. So we were out on the beach earlier, and it was nice to actually be able to just drop the kickstand and still have it stay there. Now looking at the electric assist, we talked about that cadence sensor, 12 magnet cadence sensor, and it's powering this motor back here. This is a Bafang motor. Now it has the SONDORS name on it, but that's the only customization that they do. Other than that, it's just a standard Bafang 350 watt hub motor. Peaks at around 450 to 500 watts. Nice durable motor. Hub motors are popular because they're durable. They just have nice reliable performance. They can take a little bit more, I guess you might say, aggressive use and last for longer than some of the mid-mount ones, for example. So a nice solid motor there. Then moving on up to the cockpit, what do we got going on here? So they use this same button pad for all of their bikes. It's nice and simple. The display here is different than the other bikes that we've been looking at today. If you've been watching the other videos, this one is a square LCD display and it's grayscale. I'm actually gonna go ahead and fire that up. We'll hold down I here so that powers up. Now this thing is super easy to see. I'm not even shading the display at all. Very bright direct sunlight here. Fantastic. It's no problem seeing it. And if you need to turn the bike on and it doesn't power on, there's actually a power button right down here next to the charging port. So you might need to hit that. And it's a little bit weird. Now, as you can see, I pushed it and it turned that off up there. So it certainly does work. But it doesn't have a lot of resistance to it. I wasn't sure if it was just a fake button or something the first time I was messing with it, but it does work. There's the charge port right there, as you can see, on a leash, so it does not get lost. All right, coming back up here, fire up that display again, hold down the I. So I like this display, honestly. I like grayscale ones for their visibility a lot. There's a lot of color ones that look fancy and have all these readouts, but they can be kind of tough to see. So this is sweet. We got the speed right there, and then I believe that's the total odometer on the bottom and pedal assist level. So you can hit the plus and minus, of course, change your pedal assist level. Now it starts out going from 1 to 5, but you can actually get into the settings here and you can change that. So if you want it to be 1 through 9, you can do that, or maybe 1 through 3. You can tweak the range on that, and you can actually really deep dive and change. You could say, well, in level 1 I want 20% assist, and then in level 2 I want 60% or something. You can actually customize it to that level, and you can even customize what battery capacity is associated with which of those 5 steps. So let's dive in here. I'm not going to change anything because unless you know what you're doing, it's as you can see there, what is this? It looks like almost like an ECN. Not sure what that one's for. BL2. All right, and this might be some kind of a speed thing. So you would want to talk to SONDORS or get the manual and see what these do. Now you can hold down plus and minus again, I think it was, and there we go. Now we're in an entirely new area. There's more stuff that you can change. I think this is where you change the voltages for those battery percentages. You can tweak those around, and then you can hold plus and minus. I think you can do it once more. Let's see. How did we get to that? There's like an entirely other, maybe it was in here. then we hold plus and minus. Yeah, I don't remember where it was exactly. I'm gonna see if I can just escape all the way back out to the beginning. There we go. So like I said, I don't know the advanced menu very well. The tech guy showed it off to me and how you can change all these different things. So if that's something you're interested in actually modifying, just talk to SONDORS to make sure, you know, there's a lot of forums online that have information for how to tweak this stuff. As I mentioned, modding your bike is really big in the SONDORS community. It's huge, whether that's adding accessories or modifying the configuration, you're adding more powerful motors and controllers, all kinds of stuff like that. And the one on here, I think it's a 15 amp controller. It's connected to that 350 watt motor. So it's a nice middle ground motor. It's not real powerful, but it gets the job. It's not going to be a super hill climber or anything like that. I'm talking about ride comfort here. We've got this fork up here, and it's got the caps on it that are just decorative. It's actually just a basic spring fork, which is not air. So it's 80 millimeters of travel. So it's a good standard. You know, it helps out with the ride comfort a lot. And I think, yeah, I don't think that these ones even pop off at all. So it is not adjustable for preload, which is a little bit of a bummer. So if you're a bigger rider, you can't make any tweaks there, but you know, it still helps out. It still helps out to cushion out the ride. And for a bike that only costs $1,000, that's pretty decent. The tires help too when you're looking at ride comfort. So these are not fat tires, but they are right next door. These are plus size here. You're looking at 3-inch wide tires, the 27.5 by 3-inch wheel on there. Pretty big, and I mean, that helps a lot. You get all that extra volume in there, gives you some cushion, and you can lower the pressure on these down a decent amount too. So if you wanted to ride on soft terrain, it's not as good as a fat tire. Like we were trying it on the beach, and it was in the really soft sand. It didn't do too well, but I mean, it's for pretty much anything shy of sand. It works great, and it's nice, good traction, good tread pattern, and you got some downsides too. As I mentioned, there's no reflective striping on here, and there's no puncture protection included either. So you've got to add some puncture protection of your own if you need it where you ride. You can do slime if you want, since it's the Schrader valve, or you can do a protective liner. Definitely recommend it, just because it's really a pain to change a flat on some of these e-bikes, especially in the rear. You know, if you get a flat tire back here, you've got all this, the motor and everything else to deal with. That can be really frustrating, so it's worth it to, you know, get some puncture protection added. All right, so check it out. So if you've been watching any of our other recent SONDORS videos, you're going to see a lot of similar components here. This is part of how SONDORS helps to keep costs down, is they use the same components as many times as they can on their different bikes. So we've got the Shimano Tourney here, and it's a 1x7 here. You're looking at a gearing range of 14 to 28 on that cassette in the back there. Pretty basic range. It works well for a bike like this that's for just like a little bit more relaxed city riding, maybe some basic commute type stuff. It's not going to be a great hill climber or, you know, a speed pedelec or anything like that. Pretty basic on the range. And this Tourney derailleur, this is the entry level from Shimano. It's their value price derailleur, which makes sense. You know, working on a value price bike here. I really like that they put the Derailleur Guard on here. This is awesome. Steel Derailleur Guard. It protects not just this, but it also protects the motor connection point right here. Helps out to keep that from getting damaged if you're transporting the bike while it's folded, because remember, we can fold this bike. We're going to do that in just a little bit here. There's no slap guard on the top of the chainstay right here, which that chain is like, it's able to bounce down there. I actually heard it clink a couple times when I went over some speed bumps. So you might want to put some clear tape on there, or an actual slap guard to protect that. It's such beautiful paint. You wouldn't want to get that all scratched up. We got a 52 tooth steel chain ring in the front up here. Standard 170 millimeter crank arms, and I think these ones are Pro Wheel. Yep, Pro Wheel on here. Wellgo platform pedals. These are the folding pedals, of course, so you can just pop that, fold that for when you fold the bike. And we might actually just go ahead and dive in and do that while we're here. Come over here and power that down. So to fold it, I mean, it's like any other folding bike, except you don't have to, there's no folding for the stem up here. So it doesn't get as compact, but it's still great for if you need to transport it. Fold that. So this lever slides out, pops that way. I'm gonna close the kickstand, and I will catch up with you guys after I have it folded, because I cannot do that with one hand. All right, so check that out. As I mentioned, this is just, to me, this is really cool for a bike like this. It's rare to see a step-through frame like this that is also foldable. There's the fold junction there. You can see the battery. We're going to take that out and have a look at it tomorrow, because we don't have the keys for it today, unfortunately. But that's where the battery lives. Now, it's a nice feature to have, because if you need to transport this in your car, you know, put it in the trunk. I mean, honestly, even in the back seat, I think you could fit it in there. Normally, a bike like this is difficult to transport, especially like if something happened and you needed to take it to the shop, or maybe you just want to take it to the beach or wherever you're going to be riding. Fantastic. I like it. And like I said, it's not as compact as your typical folding bike, and mostly that's from the stem up here. There's no quick release or anything on that. So if you wanted to really get compact, you would have to break out your tools to pop the handlebars off, but it gets the job done for sure, especially for your most basic transportation needs. So that is pretty dang cool. All right, I'm going to pause the camera again and we'll get it reassembled. All right, guys, we got our hands on the keys so that you can check out the battery. This is on the fold, or not the fold, the smart step here. So that it's right here in the down tube. Now it's a lot easier to get this out if you can, you know, fully tip it up, or have somebody, like I got Bruce here with me, holding it up for me. And it slides out very easily. As soon as you turn that key, it'll just pop right out. And so there you go. This one is the 36 volt. These are 10.4 amp hours, right? Yep. And you can see you've got the button there so you can check the charge level while it's off the bike. And there is the charge port right there. So if you did want to, you know, charge it while it's off the bike, you have got that option. All right, we'll get this put back in here. Oh, that is upside down. Maybe? Yeah. Maybe I had it right the first time. There we go. Slide that in there, turn the key, and you are locked back in. All right, guys, check it out. We got the charger here too. Now, they use the same charger for all of their new bikes now. It weighs in at 1.4 pounds. It's a 3 amp charger, a little bit better than the standard 2 amps that we usually see. Get you a little bit faster charge, still really lightweight at just 1.4 pounds. And really pretty good size too. Like, you get a little bit of extra weight, but honestly, I'm impressed for a 3 amp. And you can see it's got the fan built in right there as well, so that you don't run the risk of overheating. All right, going back to the review. Got everything back together here. We'll talk about the rest of the cockpit. You know, I think we might have actually really covered just about all of it. Got those ergonomic locking grips, 4-finger levers for those mechanical brakes. The throttle here, this is a variable throttle, thumb throttle, so you can adjust how much power you get from the motor. The motor's not super powerful here, 350 watts, so you'll probably be using it at the full throttle more often than not. This is that Shimano grip shifter here, the RevoShift. And it's got the readout window there, which actually, it's like a magnifier right there, so you can see the gear that you're in, but it kind of distorts it, honestly. If you get over here on the side, it's like a perfect spot to really see that. But yeah, you just twist like that to shift, and it does great. We're going to jump on and ride it in just a minute here so that you can check that out, of course. No display port, no USB port on the display. There's a little rubber dealio cap sort of a thing right down here, but I wasn't able to get it off. I asked the tech, and he said that there's not actually anything there. You can spec this display so it has a USB port there, but this one does not have it, which is why you don't see that there. All right, I don't think we actually talked about the saddle here. Cellular joist gel saddle. You can see the gel right inside there. It's pretty dang comfy. It's nice and wide, and it's got the bumpers on the bottom, so it's a pretty comfy saddle. It does a great job, and I think it's the same saddle that we saw on the Fold XS and probably on their other bikes. As I mentioned, they really love to use those components in different places as much as they can. All right, so I think we're going to jump on and do a little riding around. Alrighty, fire up that display, and we are live. I guess we'll leave it down here in 1, and we'll just do some cruising around on the throttle first, as I like to do. And you can see that little power meter right there, so that's just the power output of the motor, which is pretty cool. You can see how much it's helping out. Now, as I mentioned, we're in pedal assist level 1, but we still get that full throttle, so I can juice it and get that power meter all the way to the top, which is pretty handy. A little bit of squeaking in that rear brake, but not bad. We're gonna turn around here and let this fire truck go past. Now the motor's pretty quiet. I mean, it's not necessarily that it's like a quiet spec motor per se, but since it's just a 350 watt, that helps out. But really not loud at all, actually. It's pretty dang quiet, which is kind of nice on a bike like this, where you might just be cruising around town. It's not, it has its own unique boldness, I guess I would say. It's not quite the like big powerful boldness of the typical SONDORS, but it's got its own flavor. So the pedal assist, when you're in assist level 1 here, pretty light, you know, not a whole lot, which is, I mean, it's actually kind of nice. If you wanted to ride the bike and get some exercise, then you're probably going to be looking at being down here in pedal assist level 1. Let's go ahead and bump that up a little bit. We'll move it up to 3 for now. Yeah, so a little bit more. This is actually a pretty good, comfortable level of assist. It doesn't feel overwhelming at all. I'm still getting a little bit of exercise, but overall, yeah, it feels pretty solid. Now, the speed bump. Something I am impressed by on this bike is how sturdy and stable it is. It's a step-thru, right? So normally step-thrus are, you get some frame flex and all that. But check this out. Like, I'm riding no-handed on this thing. And it's, you know, not only is it a step-thru, but we got that joint down there because it's a folding step-thru. But even, you know, even with those two factors, cruising no-handed, you know, feels very stable. Not really any noticeable frame flex. Even getting up here, you know, into these higher speeds, that I am really impressed by, that they were able to actually get it that stable. Turned around here. Part of what helps with that, of course, is this. You got that supporting crossbar right there. That's actually a really handy carry handle when you have it folded, but it also helps out on the stability front. Gives it just a little bit more rigidity in the frame. They did an awesome job with regards to that. Now, we can talk a little bit more about the ride comfort side of things. The ride position is very comfy. You know, it's this nice kind of an upright, relaxed seating position. Now, it's not a great fit for tall people like me. I'm 6'3", so I'm definitely taller than average, but you know, I'm not definitely not getting full leg extension. Here, let's get turned around here. I'm not getting full leg extension, and I don't have the seat quite up to the max. We'll stop and adjust that real quick. All right, so we got the seat back up to the max height here, and it's still, yeah, it's all right. It's not quite full leg extensions for me. Not even close, actually. But it's okay. You know, like I said, I am much taller than the average person, and so it's actually pretty rare that I'm able to get to full extensions. So for more average sized folks, this is going to be a pretty good fit, and it's actually really going to shine if you're small. If you're a shorter person, you can lower that seat way down there. Great, you know, stand over height approachability. So I think that is probably who this is really aimed at, is average to smaller size riders and people that are a little bit more casual. They want that approachability that comes with having the step-thru frame. Gonna see if we can get that all the way up to the max speed here. We'll crank that on up. Now, like I mentioned, the shifter, like it works solid. We're in gear 5 right now. Actually, no, let's demo that out. We'll bump that back down to 0 just so we can get shifted all the way down. So now we're in first gear. We'll add a few levels of pedal assist. And there we go. We're all the way up in 7. Going to bump that on up to level 5, and we'll just see what we can do in terms of top speed here. Those speed bumps are a little bit scary going that fast with one hand, but No, it's, I mean, it'd be no problem even pedaling up to that max speed. The throttle, if you're going just on the throttle, then you'll notice the motors start to, you know, once you start getting up above 15, it gets a bit anemic. There's not a whole lot of power left so you can't accelerate quickly once you're up there, but it feels pretty good nonetheless. All right. So check this out, guys. We were actually just packing up to get ready to head back, and we ran into somebody who's like, oh, what is that, an electric bike? What kind of bike is that? Asking questions about it. And so she is test riding it out right now. And see her coming back around. We'll have to see what she thinks about it.
It's fun, huh?
As you say, it's fun.
I love that.
Yeah? Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, this is fun. So to keep the throttle, you just keep your hand there.
You keep your hand on it if you want to throttle.
Okay.
But there's also different levels.
And there's different
different gears here.
Okay.
This one
Alright.
is a 7-speed. Yeah, 7-speed gear. And then
you don't really need more than 7-speed with the with the battery.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it helps a lot, yeah.
And this is one of our newer models. This bike is like a fan favorite. We call it the Easy Rider.
I want to take a picture.
All right, guys, so for the Smart Step here, I think that about wraps it up. I mean, overall, I'm impressed with it. I like this bike a lot. I love the folding step-through design. As I mentioned, that's just not something that I've really seen. I know that there's a few other ones out there, but it's the first time I've been able to get my hands on something like that. So that is cool. Value-priced bike here. You're looking at just $9.99 to get that shipped. Now, they do make some concessions, you know, to get it to that price. For example, you know, you got like the entry-level Derailleur Shimano Tourney, and then the mechanical brakes instead of hydraulic, but still really good stopping power because those are disc brakes. We don't get any, you know, integrated lights or fenders or anything like that. You know, like I said, it's value priced. And so that's why they've made those cuts. And for someone that doesn't need to add any accessories like that, that is just a steal at $9.99. Get that 1-year warranty too, of course. All right, guys. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me for this review. Now, if you've got questions or comments about this, chime in the comments section. You can also talk to us back on our website, ElectricBikeReview.com. If you go there, you're going to find the full written review with all the specs, measurements, and everything else. You also find the SONDORS forum. You can connect with other SONDORS writers and talk about your bikes. All right, guys. Ride safe. See you next time.